Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome to Sports Talk with Broads. We are broadcasting live from the Manscaped Man Cave. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code BROD at manscaped.com. As frustrating as the Eagles are, I'm going to miss them on this Sunday. It blows when they don't play on Sunday, whether that's because of Thursday night football, Monday night football, or the bye week. I need to have the Birds play at 1 o'clock on my Sundays. Don't try and tell me that 8:20 on Sunday's fun because the whole entire universe is watching. Don't try and tell me that 4:25 is nice because it's America's game of the week. No. It's about 1 o'clock. It's about 1 o'clock. That's the best time frame. You wake up, you have your cup of coffee, you make some eggs, pancakes, waffles, you name it. Maybe you have a nice parfait, yogurt, granola, strawberry, blueberry, you name it. But 1 o'clock comes around at a nice time on my Sundays where I can kick back and relax. Well, not really, to be honest with you. I can't relax with this Eagles team, but you get my point. 1 o'clock, I'm going to miss it. I'll be watching a Dallas Cowboys-Washington game, rooting for the damn football team to pound Andy Dalton over and over and over again. I'm going all red zone, though. I don't understand, because there are people out there. I don't understand it. There are people out there that like the full game. They want to watch the full broadcast where it's not all of the action. They want to wait and watch people in the huddle and coming in and out. Why? Why would you do that when it's not your team? I get it when it's the Birds. You want to watch the whole damn game. No doubt about it. There's no other way to go about it in that scenario. But on a day where the Eagles are not involved, I don't want to sit there and watch commercial breaks. Give me John Hanson on the big TV so I can see explosiveness and big plays and kickoff returns and whatever 90-yard touchdown runs. Come on. But anyway, let's get to what matters here. Let's get to the final thoughts on that Eagles-Giants game. We have a bunch of your phone calls to react to. The Anytime Hotline was buzzing so much after that Eagles-Giants game that, there's plenty of reactions to get to. And I saw this tweet on Twitter from Dylan McKinnon of 97.5 The Fanatic, and I thought it was very interesting. So there is this conversation about Carson Wentz holding the football way too long. And to be fair, there are many moments where I feel that Carson Wentz holds onto the ball too long. He takes a sack. He won't throw it away. Now, to be fair, there are plenty of plays that we love so much out of Carson when he escapes, when he rolls to the right, where it's beautiful. It's Carson Wentz, and that's why we love him. And you're going to have to take some of those bad plays to get rewarded with some of those beautiful plays. So it's sort of like you got to give and you got to take. But Wentz holds the ball too long is the quote that he starts the tweet out with. Then he responds and says, that's funny, because in 2019 he averaged 2.71 seconds from snap until pass, which was 10th quickest in the league. This year, he's in the bottom 10, but who's below him? Pat Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Lamar Jackson, and Josh Allen. So I bring this up because it is true. There are times where Carson Wentz holds onto the ball and he takes a hit that he doesn't need to take, and he takes a sack, and it gets ugly at times. I'm not going to deny that. But there's so many factors involved. Russell Wilson extending the play, allowing the play to develop, making a play when there's nothing there because he holds onto the ball way too long. Now, he throws it away more than Wentz does, and Pat Mahomes, similar thing. It's just interesting. It's just a way to put it in perspective of where these quarterbacks are who are elite in this league that we watch and we're amazed with every single damn week in this league. They're holding onto the ball way longer. And the difference is, look at the weapons that the quarterbacks have. In Watkins, in Tyreek Hill, in Kelce. And then you go to Seattle, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. And you look at their offensive line play compared to where the Eagles are right now, and there's so many variables into why things happen out there on the field. But I like context. I like putting it into the league and the conversation about where the league is, because, it's very similar to the Jim Schwartz conversation with that stat that I just brought up, because so many people are frustrated with Jim Schwartz. They want him fired. They want him out of here. Look around the league. Look at the defensive coordinators around the league. Use context around the league. It's not just about, what's happening here. How does that compare to what's going on other squads? And Jim Schwartz, while he might frustrate you at time and the sticks and whatever, look around the league. Look at his success in his 20-plus year career. It might not be pretty to the eye, because I know his scheme isn't pretty to the eye, but it's effective when you have proper talent. Then you get into the whole roster construction, Howie Roseman. Oh, there's so much involved in this 2-4-1 football team. But I just thought that was an interesting stat. So now that we're a couple days out on what happened, that comeback, watching the game a couple times in replay, it's a lot less frustrating watching it the second time. While it still hurts and it's still painful and it's still ugly, when you know the outcome, your eyes don't bleed as much. And those two last series from Carson Wentz, I can't get over it. Just so many beautiful plays, excellent perfection, the QB rating, boom, those last two drives, it was very special. Whether it was the Richard Rodgers plays, the John Hightower play, that John Hightower play, he put the ball on the money. He cashed in beautifully, and it's crazy that before you saw John Hightower drop a very similar pass against the Ravens with the snap of his fingers to start the game. It was 3rd and 22 on the first drive for the Eagles, and he dropped a big-time bomb that could have changed field position for the Birds, so that means the Ravens wouldn't have scored so easily on their first drive. And then you fast forward to the following week, he gets an explosive play in a big-time moment when the Eagles really needed it. And I mentioned that Richard Rodgers play. Very, very valuable. He was awesome. Now, can you expect him to go 85 yards, 6 receptions every single week? I doubt it. I do. And that play to Boston Scott. My Lord. My Lord. You watch that thing and you go in slow motion and you watch the all 22 and you get the angles that you like. I like to drop down to my knees when watching that on the all 22. I start crying because it's so damn poetic. What a catch by Boston Scott, too. All of it. And that first drive, I think that's the most frustrating thing to me. That's one of my big takeaways of the game. Now that we're a couple days away and it's digesting, how great that first drive was and how creative that first drive was, how it goes away. It's irritating because it's in there. Whoever is coming up with those scripted plays, it's in there. And I'm sure it's not just Doug Pederson. It's the collective group of the coaching staff. But how does it go from that to something really bad? And I brought this up where, can they script more plays? Can they get more involved with the game plan? If you script the first, let's say, 15 plays, why don't you have 3 sets of 15 scripted plays? So where you utilize the first one, you utilize the second one. Don't tell me you're going to run out of plays like you did in the red zone. That tells me that you are a bad football coach if you can't come up with a ton of action for your team to run with a script. It was really solid. It was insanely good what you saw. You flip it to DeSean Jackson. He's going. The motion involved at the line of scrimmage. I was like, damn, what team am I watching here? The San Francisco 49ers the last season? You just sneak downfield and then bang, Carson Wentz puts it in himself, running the ball. Where is that? Why can't we utilize that more often? Why does it just have to be the first drive? Why does it have to be so early on? Because it's so easy to see after that, the team has nothing. No identity. No pop. You got to get more pop out of this squad at times. And I see that it's there. I see that the mindset of the coaching staff is there. And then it goes away every time in the same spot. It's wild. All right. Let's get to the Anytime Hotline. The phone number is 856-442-9805. You can call in at any point. I love reacting to your calls. Before we do that, though, let's hear a word from my friends at Orbit Energy and Power. With over 20 years of experience in the solar industry, they are home to your solar experts in residential and commercial projects. They offer flexible financing solutions such as $0 down. In addition, they will make sure you receive all the state and federal incentives available for switching to solar. They also provide water purification systems, backup energy services, battery storage, and more. If you need any help to your home, make sure you check out their information. It's down below in the description.
I'm happy we won, but I'm unsatisfied because we should have dropped 30-plus points in that team at least. There's so many times in the red zone where we get down there, terrible play calling, poor execution, and Doug, when your quarterback drives you down the field to take the lead late in the fourth quarter, you do a play with Jalen Hurts? No, let Carson throw the ball again and maybe run it in his damn self, man. Like, if Doug doesn't improve his play calling, I don't even think he has a game plan. He just chooses a random play on the playbook, no matter what situation. Be like, ooh, let's do this one, even though it hasn't worked in 5 weeks. Let's do it.
It does seem like there's no structure involved. And one of the things I've said before on this show is sometimes it feels that Doug Pederson just closes his eyes and goes, that one, that one, that one, that one. He just points randomly at the play sheet, and that's the one that he's going to go with. 30-plus points on this squad, considering that they scored 29 against the Steelers and they scored a decent amount on the Ravens. You would think that, in theory, they would be able to score on this Giants defense. Although, this Giants defense is respected. The Giants blow, but their defense is not bad whatsoever. You would think, it's always easy to look at the week before and you go, well, if they can do that against this team, that means that they should do better against the opponent they have up on that week, up on the schedule for that week, right? So everyone bases what the team can do based off of what they did the previous week. But then here comes the most cliche thing in the world. Anything can happen on Sunday, where it doesn't always relate. It's so week to week. This league is so week to week that just because something happens the previous week, it doesn't always mean it will follow for your next matchup. So, yeah, with Doug Pederson, it's just irritating at times. And it's crazy that we're at this point, because we would have never imagined in a million years after 2017 that this quickly we will be questioning Doug this hard. And he doesn't think well on his feet. That is a problem. You are a head coach. You got to be in the middle of the game and be the strongest mentally and come up with phenomenal decisions in that moment. And he doesn't. He doesn't come up with those decisions in that moment. He is struggling big time in that department. Jalen Hurts, the Jalen Hurts package is very underwhelming. For as upset as I was and confused during the draft, he is an athlete. He has a skill set, and they're not maximizing his skill set. He's not maximizing what he is capable of doing. Even though we might not like that pick at that area in the draft, he's here now. He does bring something to the table. They valued him, and with as much as they valued him, they can't dial up more creative plays than a read option. How about an RPO? I think an RPO would be a big-time difference. We had Sal Pal on 97.3 on the Sports Bash with Mike Gill and myself, and he mentioned that. What's up with the read options? Why can't it be an RPO for Jalen Hurts? He can throw the football. You saw what he did in college, and that doesn't always relate to the NFL, but he can throw the ball. And he did it once so far this year, and it was a strike to Richard Rodgers, I believe, for an 18-yard gain. He can do it. It would be a different element for that defense if it's an RPO compared to just a run. It's getting sniffed out way too many times, and it has to change. The red zone stuff, I never heard a coach admit in his life that he's running out of red zone plays. It's pathetic.
That's my franchise quarterback, Carson Wentz. Let's go! He made some big-time throws to win a big-time game against a pretty terrible New York Giants squad who put up a big-time fight against a terrible Eagles defense. This game is such it's too much to process right now, but it's a win, and that's all that matters as of right now.
That's very true. I do think a win is a fine way to look at this, because if you're 1-5-1 after losing to the New York Giants, you're in a totally different mindset. Not that winning this game changes the way you feel really about this team, but you want to win the division. I don't want to hear it that, I don't want to win the division. This team stinks. They're going to lose anyway. No. There is value in knowing that the game on Sunday against the Dallas Cowboys next Sunday on Sunday Night Football, there's value in knowing that there is a division still on the line. You don't want to be 1-8-1 going into games on Sunday where you literally have zero chance at the division. You're not involved. The emotional tie isn't there. As frustrating as this team is and how bad they are and with how many flaws there are, winning that game on Thursday is impactful to how you feel about these upcoming games, because that division is still up for grabs. It probably still is up for grabs at 1-5-1 because of how embarrassing it is, but this puts you in a different spot. It puts you in a better scenario for that division to be a real conversation. So it's bad. It's not good what they look like at times, right? Winning that game, does it now make you feel like this team is a Super Bowl contender? But I don't think you realize what a 1-9-1 football team would feel like on Sundays when you're 11 weeks in or so. You don't want to have that. You'd rather it be this way. You'd rather it be to the point where you're screaming in frustration, but you're at the top of the division in one of the worst divisions in NFL history. I promise. I promise you that.
Oh my God, what a catch from Boston Scott, and what a throw as well. Boston Scott 5'6", caught that ball. I don't know how he caught that ball, but he caught that ball. I don't know where to start with this game. Carson Wentz came up clutch in the end. Great job by Carson clutching up in the end. Defense coming away with major turnovers that really helped the team out, although Jake Elliott didn't convert. Also, that hit on DeSean Jackson. Man, that's unacceptable. That could have ended his career. You never know. Hopefully not, though, man. My prayers go to DeSean Jackson overall. Great win. Too close for comfort, but I'll take it.
I'll take it too. With DeSean Jackson, it's looking like 6 to 8 weeks with that ankle. It is so unfortunate. It really is pretty damn brutal what happened to him. And I did bring this up before. Can you question Doug Pederson for putting him out there? I think it's fair to question him. That's also just a football play at the same time. Like, he got hit. It was cheap, don't get me wrong, but that's what happens in football. It's not so much a fair football play, but that's what happens when you are on the football field. Things like that can happen. He was a phenomenal punt returner one time in his career. You needed a spark. You needed someone to help out this team with some sort of energy. Like, I do question Doug for putting him out there based off of his recent circumstances, injury history, older, on a snap count. But at the same time, I don't question Doug Pederson. So I'm torn on it, because I know what DeSean Jackson has done in his career. He's probably their best punt returner they have. And in a moment where they need to get the win and they need to be put in a good field position, wouldn't you utilize your best punt returner? If he caught a fair catch because he didn't have time to run it back or whatever the case may be, no one would be questioning why DeSean Jackson got out there. It's only because he got hurt at the end is why it's now being so heavily criticized. I do think it's fair to go in that direction, though. It's not outrageous, but for me personally, I get why you put him out there at the same time. So it's tough for me to come down brutally intense on Doug for that one. What else was mentioned in there, though, that I wanted to bring up? Maybe I'll replay it, because there was something I thought I wanted to touch on. Maybe it'll come to my head real quick, and no, I'm going to replay it.
Oh my God, what a catch from Boston Scott, and what a throw as well. Boston Scott 5'6", caught that ball. I don't know how he caught that ball, but he caught that ball. I don't know where to start with this game. Carson Wentz came up clutch in the end. Great job by Carson clutching up in the end. Defense coming away with major turnovers that really helped the team out all.
There it is. Defense. The defense is an interesting one. They did create a lot of turnovers. The Brandon Graham strip. I mean, come on now. It reminded us, and we can all remember the beautiful moment he gave us before in a situation like that, although not even close to the same impact. Super Bowl 4-1 season against the Giants. Two totally different scenarios. But Jalen Mills gets an interception. Josh Sweat gets his hand to make a fumble occur. The defense did come away with 3 turnovers at the end of the day. That is very impactful. You would argue before the game, if I told you the Eagles get 3 turnovers, you would be totally satisfied with that, and that would be a good game by the defense. But then you factor in what happened with the Daniel Jones run. And then you factor in the 97-yard touchdown drive that occurred. There were some ugly moments. It's like every person in this game was inconsistent. Carson Wentz, very inconsistent. His highs were very high. His lows were pretty damn low. Throwing across his body to Fulgham, the interception. Doug Pederson, his highs, the scripted plays, amazing. The last 2 drives with Doug Pederson, definitely amazing. But the middle, brutal. And with the defense, forcing a lot of turnovers. The highs were great. The lows, though, very, very, very low. So, I mean, I could argue all through the board, everyone you needed to play well, they were all very inconsistent, and that's when you get the outcome that you get in a 22-21 game. But the defense, it's hard for me to get a read on how they played because there were so many moments that were game-changing where they put the Eagles' offense in a position to succeed. You mentioned Jake Elliott. You need to hit that field goal. You got to produce points. You need to be able to get points off of your defense's turnovers. That's the difference in blowing out a football team or not. If your defense gets you the ball and now you're in you're at a good field position, go execute, go make plays, go score points. That's how you swallow teams up. And the Eagles weren't able to do that, but the defense, they put the Eagles offense in position many times. But they also allowed some explosive plays to happen from the Giants. And that's going to happen. You're not just going to shut down every team ever, every single play as a defense. But to the Giants, who have one of the worst offenses in football this year, it can't happen to the way that it happened. The 97-yard touchdown drive, get a damn stop, will you? And even at the end of the game, how many 10-yard runs did they have where they were easily getting first downs to churn the clock down? Luckily, though, Doug Pederson, let me give him some praise. He did a hell of a job with clock management and timeouts late to put them in a good spot for Carson Wentz to drive downfield, which was actually very solid out of Dougie P. And that Daniel Jones run, man, that was funny as hell, no doubt about it. There's so many memes and GIFs of him falling over. The miles per hour, though, that he was running, wow. You're talking Lamar Jackson type stuff. He was running that fast. I wonder if this opens the door for Joe Judge and that coaching staff to utilize his legs way more, going, oh, damn. I mean, you're talking Lamar Jackson type stuff. He was flying. It's so funny, though, to watch that replay. You could see it, though. You're like, oh, no, he's going to fall. He's going to fall. Oh, man, right? Like, you could see it happen as he starts to go down. Wow, what a crazy ride that was.
I don't know what to make of that win, dude. I don't know what to make of it at all. I've never seen a win that can make you feel more lifeless. I can't be mad at Wentz, but I can't love him. And I want people to stop talking about Jalen Hurts because he's not doing anything that's significant. They need to stop with that, in my opinion.
Well, I don't think he's doing anything significant because they're not putting him in a good spot to do it, you know? Now, it's his first year, the COVID stuff and all that, and I get that is part of the equation when it comes to his knowledge of the playbook and his knowledge of NFL football and his experience to this point, because you lose out on a lot during the training camp. But, I mean, come on, mix in a couple RPOs. Like, you can be more creative. It does seem forced at this point. It does seem like hold on a second, we got to use this guy because we drafted him. And that's what I was afraid of when it all went down and after I allowed it to settle in a bit. Like, okay, they really did draft Jalen Hurts. How are they going to use Jalen Hurts? I was afraid that they were going to try and justify the pick so much that they would overuse him, that they would try too much, that they would try and be pretty. And look, it worked against the Ravens. They needed a spark plug with that offense, and it was something that helped them be more explosive when things died out and fizzled out. It's been very underwhelming, though. And do they have to stop or do they have to find a way to get him implemented better? I would argue that they need to do a better job of implementing him. Look, when you look at the current playmakers on this team. Yes, Fulgham is exciting. Greg Ward is a reliable slot receiver, but he's not anything crazy. Richard Rodgers, Hightower, who has a skill set that isn't even close to what Jalen Hurts brings. Jalen Hurts brings something different from these guys. How can't you make that work? It's not like you have these stud, insane, elite receivers and tight ends all out there right now. Right now, due to injury, you don't have that. You have Richard Rodgers leading the way. Boston Scott leading the way. You should be able to get this guy going somehow, some way. Gadget pieces and guys like Jalen Hurts, there is a role for them. I just don't like it being valued more than a linebacker and more than a completed roster. If you have a completed roster and then you get this type of piece, I can be satisfied with it more. But it's where they took him and where they valued him and the results you're getting, which blows my mind.
Darius Slay has been an absolute monster for this Eagles team. Teams are throwing away from him. They can't get anything on him, and when they try and throw to him, it's either incomplete or it's a penalty. Except for that one touchdown where they had to switch and on that weird little switch pass pick play. Other than that, Darius Slay has been an absolute monster. Fantastic acquisition from this team. I don't think we're talking about it enough. Just wanted to put it out there. Darius Slay has been an absolute monster.
That's interesting because against the New York Giants, it's tough to really look at a specific player and be like, wow, you're great, because you're going up against one of the worst offenses in the league. When they played the Steelers, I could argue they weren't afraid of him a lick. I saw Big Ben specifically pointing at Claypool on Darius Slay, or it's a bigger moment down in a certain area of the field, and he's pointing right at his receiver going against Darius Slay. Big Ben was not afraid of Darius Slay at all, and I'm not knocking Darius Slay. He's the least of your problems, and he is a good cornerback in this league. Maybe Daniel Jones was afraid of him, but when you look at Big Ben and these better quarterbacks, I don't think that he scares you as much as other corners in this league. People are not afraid of Darius Slay as much as they are other cornerbacks in this league. I specifically remember, and I brought this up on the postgame show because I was pretty fired up after that Pittsburgh Steelers game. He was not afraid whatsoever. He would constantly go to his side, and he would pick on Darius Slay at times. So it's hard for me against the Giants to get all woohoo about Darius Slay, although I'm not knocking him. I love the fact that he's here. He has a great skill set, and he is a better corner in this league. I just don't know if he puts fear into these top quarterbacks' eyes. I feel some of these quarterbacks say, I can get around this guy, no doubt.
Fortunately, the Birds delivered us a twist right out of an M. Night Shyamalan movie and somehow derped their way to a victory against the Giants. I think Carson Wentz had a very, very shaky game, but at least he came up big, just like last year's game against the Giants at the Link. I think Doug Pederson probably had the worst play calling game that he's ever had in a game where he won. I thought he was bad, but overall, hey, the Birds won, and we're gonna have to take that, I guess, and I'm happy about it. We're 12-1 in our last 13 games against the Giants. They can't beat us no matter what, no matter how bad we play. And as of right now, life is good.
I think they are getting closer and closer, though, this Giants team. I feel it could be the next one that maybe they get the Eagles, because it is coming. There's no doubt that it is coming. Yeah, Doug Pederson definitely is my biggest takeaway, although Carson Wentz is probably more important of a takeaway. I think Doug Pederson was the biggest based off the fact that he had such a poor game all around. That was arguably one of the worst games I've seen out of Doug in a really, really long time. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. The 3rd and 1 calls, the red zone stuff, the 3rd and 1 calls, it's crazy. I mean, you're literally telling your team, go into the strengths of the Giants defense. Go right up the middle and go into their interior linemen. Let's see what happens, especially when you have an offensive line that can't play and they're beat up and they're losing every single battle. Yeah, let's try and win the trenches on their interior linemen for 3rd and short. It's just ridiculous. I don't understand the philosophy heading into it. With Wentz up and down, but came up clutch. And the fourth quarters over the last couple of games has been clutch. Clutch might even be an understatement. And people talk about it all the time. You need your quarterback in the fourth quarter helping your team go on certain drives to help you win a game. Well, he has done that now. He did that twice in the same game with barely any time left on the clock. Very impressive, but there was ugliness involved. You might just have to take that, though, to get the beauty side of Carson Wentz. It might just be that type of quarterback.
It's crazy how I can feel so much better about the loss that we took against Baltimore than this pathetic win that we got over the Giants. I mean, it was good to come back last minute. It was a really good drive by Carson Wentz. But, man, Doug Pederson, oh, my God, he was pathetic. Like, seriously, man, like, go to Madden and steal some plays if you run out of plays the way that you say that you do. Like, seriously.
That is funny as hell. Go steal some plays from Madden. He was fired up on Dougie P, and I think that's very fair to be. Now, he mentioned how he thought the game against the Ravens was actually better even after a loss, and I think that's very true, especially when it comes to Carson Wentz's box score. Carson Wentz is not a box score guy. In a lot of the wins, it's not like he has 300-plus yards. Now, in this game, he did, but like the box score for Carson screams, he had a phenomenal game. 359 yards, 2 touchdowns. Wow, look how great he was. Look how great he was. Look at all these yards. Look at his 25 for 43. I could argue he had a better overall game against the Ravens where the box score doesn't pop nearly as much and his completion percentage wasn't there and he barely threw for some yards. That's where I think the disconnect is with the love and fascination with the box score. I'll say this, though. I will take a hideous win over a pretty loss any day of the week because the win means a lot more. In this episode, I was talking about how it doesn't really correlate week to week. And if you're a bad team, you're a bad team. So there are things that do correlate, but because X happens a week before, it doesn't mean X happens on the following week. Well, that's why you take the ugly wins. Because even if you had an ugly win on a certain week, it doesn't mean the following week is going to play out the same exact way. Now, ultimately, if you lean towards being a bad team, there's a better chance that it does go that way. But look, you don't want to just be satisfied with with pretty losses over taking an ugly win. You'd rather have the ugly win every single day. There's no doubt about it. There's no way that can even be an argument. But I bring up the stat sheet thing because I do find it interesting with Carson that people are very fascinated on this week's specific box score. I could argue throughout his whole entire game, if you take the whole thing, this was uglier, way uglier than what happened against the Ravens, and the box score against the Ravens wasn't pretty. It's just weird all around. Moral of the story here, though, is it's a big win because now you are more engaged than if you lost the game, and it's so damn early in the season. I cannot sit here and watch a season where it's not meaningful to the standings. It's not meaningful to trying and winning a division. You need to be involved, whether it's because your record is 2-4-1 or not. I don't care how bad the division is. Be involved for the division because you have a chance to play a playoff game if you do win the division. And to me, that's something you need to look forward to no matter what your record is. So it is time to start flipping the page after this game. It was the weekend. I digested it a couple different ways. I wanted to get my final thoughts. I wanted to take the rest of your phone calls, which we got to. Thank you so much for everyone who called in. Remember, you can call in after every game. We also do previews. So on Football Fridays, leading up to a Sunday game, we do previews where you can call in and you can preview the game, share your thoughts, and things of that nature. So, make sure you do that. Once again, the phone number is 856-442-9805. It is time, though, to turn the page on the Giants. And next time we speak about the Eagles, it will officially be Cowboys Week. That's always fun. Is it as fun, though, when these are the two teams you're getting? Man, it's ugly. Thank you all so much for listening, and I will see you next time.